Hello, Kansas and Western fans. I'm going to share with you a couple things. First of all, something you might get a kick out of. This is going to be my last spike video, I suppose. If you've been following my channel, you know I don't use track spikes because I don't hand lay my own track, and I prefer to glue my track down using sealing caulk. But this is as close as we're going to get to a last spike. This is the last piece of track that I'm going to lay. So I figured I'd just go ahead and record this for posterity. So hang in there, we'll get that done. And then we're going to move on with kind of a follow-up to my last video about what I'm going to do here in this mill scene. So hang in there. Let's see if we can get this done. So if you can see in the photo there, I've got a lot of black lines drawn up. And basically what I've done is I've already cut my track to length from this turnout here on the left all the way down to the wall. I've already got the track. I've got it in 3 segments because I almost ran out. So I've got the lines drawn for where I'm going to put this caulk down, and we'll get that spread out, and then we'll put the track down. I normally don't lay one single piece of track this long at one time, but that's the way this worked out. It's kind of in a hard to reach area, so it was just easier to do, connect them all at one time. So now what I'm going to do is kind of look down the end of the track to make sure it's lined up fairly well. All of this track in this mill scene, at least these 3 spurs, is going to be completely buried, obviously except for rail heads. So I don't care if it's too wiggly, but we're going to be putting some concrete in. But now I'm kind of getting into the next segment of the video. We'll talk about that here in a minute. That's not horrible. I'll let you guys see. Not too bad. All right, so the next step is basically to pull in the soda can train, and that's what I use for weights, just to make sure it sits solidly in the caulk while it dries. So we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll get back with you here in a second about what we're going to do with this scene. Okay, so here we have the structure in place. I've made some modifications. At the ends, I cut out kind of the garage door things. Here, we got one here. That's not it. Here we are. This is the piece that was sitting at both ends. Here you can kind of see the support member there. I've cut that off because I think we all decided there was no need for, kind of a garage door entryway. And I want to thank everybody for all their feedback. There was a lot of great ideas submitted about what I should do with this structure, and I'm going to use several of those ideas. So we're going to get into that. Anyway, so what I decided to do, instead of having those 3 tracks all spread out so that they would fit in those doorways, I decided to bunch them close together, and that serves a couple of things. First of all, I can at least temporarily use the kit that I've already built for this gantry crane until I figure out what I'm going to do after that. Now, I had talked about building a custom job that ran the full width of the structure width, where the support members would just be attached to the walls, and we would just get rid of these angled pieces. And I may still do that. But given a lot of the structure detail that we talked about, and I've got the photo right here handily, where there's lots of piping that goes over the top, lots of support things, whatever all that stuff is, putting the tracks centrally in the structure is going to allow me to maybe add some of that, because I don't have room here. And one could say that, why don't you just move these tracks? Well, they do serve a purpose. Number one, first of all, this is the main line that curves around. And then we have a switch lead for the locomotive, and I've added this locomotive shed. Now, this structure is not going to be the one I use. I borrowed this from the Union Tank Car Company just to provide an example, but it's going to serve a couple of purposes. Number one, this is where the locomotive kind of hides out while the main line traffic uses this crossover here to take the siding and then park its train on either one of those sidings there. And then that way the switcher can come on, and because that's where the switch lead is right there, and do the switching. But in the meantime, it kind of has to stay out of the way. Plus, the length of this track is to add a switch lead, because the switcher is often on either end of a train, whether it's pulling cars or pushing them in and out of the mill, or whether it's doing runarounds, because you can see the stub end tracks go in both directions. So the switcher is going to have to be on either end. And I'm using this track as a switch lead or as just an extension to be able to push cars just to reposition the locomotive. Now, this interior track where you can see this gondola with a load, this is my finished products track, and this is more for operational use than anything else. I didn't want to just have switching in this scene for scrap gondolas to go in and out of the mill. I wanted to show that the mill actually produces something, which it does. And so that's what that track is for. And it's very long, so I can add lots of cars, but it also serves as kind of a switch lead because it ties in way back here with everything else. So that's the purpose for that track, and that's why I can't get rid of either one of those. And there's just not really room in the scene to do anything else. So that's kind of the purpose there. The reason that I've added the structure is I'm going to try to help hide this inside corner. This is the only inside 90-degree corner on my entire layout, which is kind of weird, but well, I guess there's one back here at Holly in there, but it's well hidden, I think, or at least partially hidden with that water tower. Anyway, with all that's going to be going on in this scene, I thought it would kind of help hide all this activity in the corner and hide the fact that my production track or my finished goods track just kind of ends instead of coming from somewhere. So what I'm going to be doing for a backdrop, and I'm hoping to have this thing installed possibly by Friday's update, but we'll see. The backdrop is going to be structures both in the corner, and the first one I ordered doesn't cover this wall, it just covers that one. But it's going to be all structure all the way down. And so I'm kind of hoping that all these structures here in the corner kind of just help blend it into the backdrop. Now, in terms of what I'm going to do inside the mill, we talked about all kinds of details, shadow box, roof, and that. So what I think I'm going to do is add a roof to this back 1/3 portion here from where you see the raised areas there. We're going to go ahead and roof that, and that's going to help disguise the fact that these are just stub-in tracks. It's also going to disguise the fact that I'm only going to have a single gantry crane for this entire facility, just one of these. The rails are going to run the length, but as far as we know, the unloading process is going to take place somewhere back here. We're just not going to see it because this is a one long unloading facility. And that way I don't have to worry about where the conveyor goes or where everything else goes, because as far as we're going to be able to tell, this gantry crane is going to pick scrap up from cars underneath here and then travel on the gantry track all the way down here somewhere under the roof or behind it where the conveyor is. So that's going to solve that problem, at least temporarily. I might decide to totally redesign this. I'm not sure, but this is going to be a decent stand-in solution, I think, for what I had for overthinking this scene. So I came up with that as a result of a lot of your comments and opinions, and I really appreciate those. And we will see how this goes. I'll probably add some other superstructure, girders and things of that nature. I don't want to add too much because I'm going to have to get into possibly uncoupled cars, but I'm thinking I'll probably just do entire strings that run the entire length of the building, so I only have to do the uncoupling or coupling at this end here, which will be much easier to reach. So that's what I'm thinking for now. Thanks again, everybody, for your input and your comments and your kind remarks. We'll see what else I can get done in this scene before Friday's update. But I guess that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed my final spike / glue ceremony. I guess that's not super fancy, but that's what I came up with for today. So everybody have a good rest of your week, and if I can get this track wired up, we'll do a quick little operations session before Friday, and otherwise we'll do Friday's update. So thanks for watching, and have a great week.